Yeah, awesome. So thanks again, Michael and Catherine, for joining us. As we said, we just wanted to connect, and this is like now in all these pandemic times, this is like a good format to really connect worldwide. So it's good to meet everyone in who's with Figu and who's involved. So, again, we are just a whole Pandora's box of questions, as some of the ones that you would have seen already. So yeah, that's we just wanted to ask you first off, how you really found out about Figu, about Billy, a little bit about your background, as such, just to get you what got you really interested into this.
Do you want to start?
Okay, I'll start because I know your answer is a long one. It gives me a chance to do some other things. So we'll start with the quick one. Well, I've always been a seeker, searching for things through all my life. Started with reading philosophy and Nietzsche and all that stuff when I was young, and traveled and ended up in an ashram in Pune. Yes, you got that right. So I was there for a few months. And then I was off to Australia, and I was part of a community of fellow seekers there, to do with this master, quote unquote. Now, it's so funny now. I'm looking back and just recently joined a group of people that were and are still followers of this now dead master in Pune. You may know who he is anyway. And wow, talk about craziness. But, it's all part of the path. And when I came back to Canada, I came to Toronto. Always been interested in UFOs and paranormal as well. And I saw a sign up on a lamppost talking about this. I think it had a UFO and talking about the Billy Meier case. I'd never heard of Billy Meier. And so I thought I'd go along. And so I went, and there in a church hall, this odd-looking tall guy with a big beard was putting on this information session, and he was playing the movie. What was it, Michael?
Contact,
right? Contact, and had a whole bunch of photostated or whatever, not even
illegal,
printed, illegal copies of these really badly translated 3 versions, which it turned out to be Michael who was putting this thing on. This is back in the early 90s. So then I was interested, but I still wasn't ready. I don't know, I guess the internet wasn't here yet, or I still had things to do. So I sort of came in and out of the group. I bought all the photocopies. I kept a file of Billy Meier in my filing cabinet for years. And I guess Michael had to go off and have a child. And so about, 14 years later, they were doing this time it was a meeting with Michael Horn, who was coming to the Science Center. And I was thinking, wow, Figu's really growing. They're doing something at the Science Center. This is amazing. Let's go see this. And Michael Horn did a presentation, which was amazing. And from there on in, I guess it was time for me. So I got involved, and it wasn't long after that Michael and I got together. He was no longer with the person he had the child with. And I had done all these other things I had to do, being a musician and going back to university and teaching and starting to fix houses and sell them and all kinds of stuff. I guess getting my retirement plans in order. And now, the rest is history. I got into this seriously back in 2006 and haven't looked back. I mean, that's when I really got into it. But, I'd known about it since early 90s when I came back from Australia. So that's it in a nutshell. Yeah.
Wow, thanks for that. So when was that time in Pune?
Pune would have been early 80s.
Ah, okay.
79, 80. You guys, some of you weren't even born yet, I'm sure.
Oh, no, I wasn't, definitely.
No.
79, I
Maybe
was
Shia?
finished my studying at that
Yes.
time.
I wasn't there.
No, you weren't. No, you guys were all still on the other side. Getting your new personalities in order.
Yeah.
And here you are. Yeah.
Awesome. Thanks for sharing that, Catherine.
Mm-hmm.
Michael?
Yeah, well, kind of a similar path as Catherine in a way, because seeking, going through trying to see what would make me a more stable, balanced human being. I was a musician, and I wasn't fully satisfied with my life, but I was researching. And a musician friend of ours was interested in Krishnamurti. And so I started to investigate Krishnamurti, and I thought he was pretty good. Of course, you've probably heard of him. And but he never really answered certain questions. I really rang him through I listened to everything he did, every video that I could get a hold of, and it was very interesting. It was a whole new way of thinking and questioning and investigating one's own thinking processes, and it was very fascinating. But at some point, there were still questions that could not be answered. He never really got into reincarnation because of the religious implications that were involved, the beliefs associated with it. But I was still very curious about other things that I just couldn't put my finger on. And then I started to get into this whole thing about channeling, the new age stuff. And there was someone called Jane Roberts who wrote a book or several books, and it was channeling Seth. In it, there was a photograph in the book. It was called Seth Speaks, and there was a photograph, and it was her doing this very strange contorted face as she's channeling, and she said, "This is her voice speaking, quote unquote. You may not believe in reincarnation, but that doesn't change the reality of it." And I went, "Whoa. What's this?" And so I started to read her material just to see what that was about. And but it was really complicated, and it was just really complicated for me. So anyway, at the time, I was also a musician, and I ended up going to Africa and getting some drums. And I went to the west coast of Africa. I lived with some people, drummers, and went to the markets and watched the drum makers making these things. And I really got involved in the culture. And I came back to Toronto and was very excited about drumming for whatever reason. And I ended up doing workshops at this place called the Rainbow Center, which was right in my neighborhood. It was very reasonable. It was a kind of experiment of combining workshops, cafe, bookstore. It was a hangout place. It was very, very reasonable. It was really not for profit. And I ended up doing drumming circles there. And one day I went to pick up a drum, and for whatever reason, Catherine knows this story, so she's going to be busy typing away at something else.
Yeah, I'm going to do some other stuff here.
Yeah. But anyway, I saw this video that was playing in the room. They had a TV set up in the kind of living room area, and it was around on the thing, and I was going, "What the heck is that?" Right? So I sat down and I watched it, and it was just very fascinating, especially Marcel. It was the contact video, and but I didn't know that. And Marcel Vogel was talking about the metal samples, and I thought, wow, this guy is really he sounds very reasonable and level-headed, and same with, this guy Billy, and so I watched it a couple of times, and then I left the place, and I'm walking down the street, and all of a sudden I just like stopped in my footsteps, and I said, "Oh, what happened to me when I was a kid?" It was just like all of a sudden I just remembered something that had happened 25 years before, which I had no recollection up until that moment. And it was like everything just suddenly came together, and I could explain an event that had happened to me when I was very young. Up until that time, there was no rational way I could deal with it, or nor did I care to deal with it, because I didn't remember it. And it was this event that when I was very young, probably about 7 years old, I had been walking in the country during the summertime with my buddy, who was about 7 years old as well, and ahead of us was the older kid, probably, with he was watching out for us, and with his 3 or 4 other older kids than us. We were the 2 young ones, and we were lagging behind about 50 feet. And all of a sudden, I mean, it was dusk. It was dusk, and you couldn't see any houses. If there were, they would have had their lights on, and we would have seen them. And to my left was this field, and further back was a forest, maybe several hundred feet, or I don't know, 100 meters or so. Yeah. And then we heard the most highly technological, this was out in the country in the middle of nowhere, it was just on this dirt road, this highly technical oscillating frequencies that were just like totally bizarre, like really, really freaked out. And the hair on the back of my neck stood up. I was totally shocked. Did you hear that? And we ran to the group ahead of us, and they were just walking like nothing. And it was like a completely forgot every detail about anything. It was I'm moving ahead. It's safe. I'm comfortable. Life continues, but it was like a block just came down, and everything was completely forgotten. Everything. So both myself and my friend heard it, because we both ran like the dickens to the group, but they didn't hear anything. Now that's the really strange thing.
Wow. Okay.
And I thought about the Pleiadians and how they can open up a window of vision, so that just people next to Billy would be able to see something, but nobody else, in the valley, or several further feet away. So I thought, well, maybe that's what it was. They opened up like a vision of sound, like a projection of sound, just for myself and Bobby. That could be, but then I was just reading From the Depths of the Universe, and when Billy was, or From the Depths of Outer Space, actually, is the book, because we're working on that, but anyway, that's another story. When Billy wanted to do the sound recordings of the ships from Semyazi, the whole area would hear the ships. It was like kilometers, and so they had to go into
think there's a little bit of a network issue.
We're back. We're back.
Yeah,
We're back.
yeah, we're back.
Yeah, it's okay. So then
We just had
this
to let you, well, we just have to let them know we have, obviously, our connection isn't so good because we're on satellite. We are on the Starlink, but
Oh, okay.
it's still a little it's a little dodgy now and then.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
No problem.
Yeah, so
where did you
so
where did
this,
you lose Michael?
the story's just about to finish anyway. So okay, so what happened was we were reading about From the Depths of Outer Space, found out that the beam ship would be heard for kilometers, so there was no way that the Pleiadian had this technology at that time to funnel the sound so that just so then, but when I was thinking about it, this was in the 60s when I heard this. This was way before like synthesizers and all that kind of technology, but it was highly sophisticated oscillations and frequencies, and very audible, not soft. It was very present, but not hurting my ears either. So then I'm thinking, well, maybe there was some other extraterrestrial race that was involved at that time. Don't know. I even hypothesized maybe it was Asket and their technology. Who knows?
Oh,
I
so
don't know.
Billy did not provide any kind of explanation on this, like what that was, because this was when you were 7 years old, right?
Yeah, I didn't ask him.
Okay.
I should have. Maybe I could have. I didn't think of asking him. But well, there's been other things that have happened when Billy's been around, when we've been and discussed stuff and seen stuff too. So that was it. And then after that, I was doing drawings of UFOs. I didn't know where this came from. I had no friends that had any interest in this, but it was obviously something was going on with me as a young boy, and that's that was, and then that remembrance of that event only came back after I had seen the video, and I was able to put it into some kind of context of sorts that seemed to make sense for me. That maybe that's this how come I remember it now? Like this is incredible. Anyway, long story short, it's been an incredible journey. Just incredible.
I mean, absolutely.
That's it.
From your facial expression, I could just summarize that. Yeah, it's been just incredible. And you also found out about or really started following the case from 2006 onwards, like Catherine, or much before that, after watching the Contact movie.
Yeah. I guess I should say give you a time because I came back from Africa. It was in '86, and at the end of '86, and that's at the beginning of '87 was when I found out about the case. And then it was just I started. Yeah, things happened. This was all before internet. It was really bizarre. I'd meet people that had just after I saw the video, I ran into someone who had a preliminary investigation put out by Wendell Stevens, who just happened to show up at this Rainbow Center and had the book. And I said, wow, this is incredible. I just saw this video a couple days ago, and can I so he wouldn't let me borrow it, of course, but he was, I guess, very protective of this book. But at least I had the Wendell's address, and so I was able to communicate with Wendell. And then I found out who had brought the video to the center, and then I went to meet him, and he had the 12 by 12 photo book put out by Genesis Publishing. It was the big coffee shop, a coffee table photo book. And so then I was in touch with Genesis Publishing too. And yeah, so, but that was back before internet. And then what I ended up doing was somehow, oh yeah, maybe it was through Wendell that I've got the address to Billy. And so then I wrote to the center, and then Felia at the time was the one that was in charge of communicating with English-speaking people. And so then I was corresponding with Felia, and that was in '88 that I was actually doing correspondence. I think I wrote in '87, maybe towards the end of '87. And yeah, so then, and then my first time that I went to the center was in '92. Yeah.
Wow, okay. Long time back. Wow. I would have been 2 years old. Awesome. So after finding out about Billy, about Figu, majorly it's yes, the interest starts out with the UFOs and etc. You think for yourself, oh, will you get a chance to see UFOs yourself if you go there? But more importantly, it's about the spiritual teachings, as we all know. So how do your days usually go by that? It's been quite a while since you've been reading the books, and you've been visiting the Symbiosis Silver Star Center. And yes, there are the amazing videos that you've put out. So another thing that I wanted to sort of ask was, how do your days usually go by? Implementing and understanding all these things, like on a daily basis. How do you go by in terms of your thoughts? Like, okay, do I have to focus on this, or do I have to not focus on this? It's a very open-ended question, and I'm sorry if I've confused you, but but yeah, that's something I was interested to know.
Do you want to go ahead, Catherine?
Oh, go ahead, Michael, and I'll
Oh,
riff off you.
okay. So, well, every day is a new day with new challenges. Like yesterday, for example, we discovered that we have a problem. We have a leak in our plumbing, in our main supply of water to the dome. And so it was like, oh no, it's like, this is, we have a plan of what we're going to do. And all of a sudden it's like there's a wrench in the wheels, there's something out of left field, which, whatever, something out of left field, which we weren't expecting. We had no idea was going to happen. And now we got to deal with it. And so how do we deal with it? And I get usually pretty stressed out, which is probably not but I get better. It's getting better. I don't totally lose my cool, but I thought it was pretty good yesterday. So I guess normally what we do is we wake up, and part of the routine is we do our meditation. We do a meditation for about 20 minutes. Well, for 20 minutes, except separately. Yeah. But yesterday,
We both have our own little Figu rooms, dedicated areas where we do our. Neither of us go as is suggested.
Okay.
Yeah.
Based on the
Yeah.
swinging waves, that
Yeah.
area is that area is set for each of you. Okay.
Yes. Yeah.
Mm. Yeah. So we, meditate.
Meditation. Yeah.
Yeah, meditate, and then after the, what else do we do? Well,
Then
there's
we
always
study.
projects. Yeah.
Well, we usually do. I do anyway. Do the GL or translation. I'm working my way through the correcting the contact reports, and so that's taking a while. I've got about 20 years to go. So hopefully, my 80s, I'll still have my mind. But yeah, or the spiritual teaching course, of course.
So what do
that
you
we
mean
work
by that,
on.
Catherine? Correcting the translation? Is there still like are there still errors in terms of translating it from German?
Yeah, quite a few. Most of it's all just been done by DeepL, and DeepL does all kinds of things weirdly.
Okay.
So yeah, I'm making sure
That's-
the British words are in, and all kinds of the actual Figu dictionary words are in there. Particularly that the he/she is in there, which automatically is not. Just the normal things that we address when we're doing our translations as well. So it's really going through it with a fine-tooth comb. Some have been sort of done by other people and sort of not, and so I'm just sort of like the fine-tooth, just going through and just correcting this stuff. So I finished the first two books anyway, and hopefully we'll be able to publish those. We can't. Well, we have the go-ahead to publish them, but it's just doing it because then it involves a whole group getting behind usually the reviewing of it, checking the English, doing a last minute. There's a whole lot involved to getting the publishing. Somebody that's willing to do the formatting. We've got just a few of us in the group that do these kinds of things, so it all takes time. So that's what we're doing. So I'm just going to keep going and fixing up the online translations. At least it'll be more correct for people when they're going through it and they're posting things. But a lot of people aren't doing going into so much of the early days stuff, which is interesting because I'm going, oh, now I'm reading about this today, and oh my gosh, everything just blew up. I think the mission's about to finish, and oh my gosh, look what happened today. And so it's interesting to do that. Yeah.
I
So
think
between
this is,
that, that's what.
yeah, it's just a great service that you're doing, Catherine and Michael, because people who know German and who are affiliated with FIGU and are able to really are really well versed in the English language as well, and are able to spend that time to translate it. As you said, right, 20 years to translate all those books. Yeah, there's
Yeah, it's a
definitely
long-term project for
It's
sure.
a long-term project for sure. Yeah. So when
I
did you?
I do it for about half an hour a day, every morning after meditation.
Ah, okay. So
Yeah.
when did you start learning German then? Like when did you realize that translation is something that you can spend your time on and you want to do?
Personally, right away. As soon as I got into this, I have to learn German. Before that, I had spent some time in Brazil, and I just learned Portuguese. And so that was a bit of a problem because, when you've just learned a language and now you're starting another language and you're searching for a word, Portuguese words pop up. I'm like, oh, that's not what I want. So anyway, it took a while. Now I'm getting more into the German, and Portuguese is waning. Yeah, so yeah, I had right away, and taking the Geisteslehre was very important for me. And that's, I didn't realize I was getting in the word. It's about a 30-some year course, right, at the rate it comes out. And it's only in German. And you have to. And I want to understand the stuff. And I don't want to be sitting around waiting for, oh, when are you guys going to translate this? I've just learned German. I'm just going to read it myself. And now it's like giving up smoking. I can walk without crutches, right? So if everybody did this, it just takes perseverance, and it takes the will to do it, and not everybody has that that propensity. I know I had the ability. I had a leaning towards picking up languages, without too much difficulty, but not everybody can do that. So it's not understandable. It is understandable, and it's not a judgment on other people, but holy smokes, yeah, it was just something I had to do. And I started with learning up verbs. I had the wallpaper on my walls with all the the verbs and the nouns, and I realized, oh, they're related, so now we just have the roots.
Wow.
And anyway, I got rid of the wallpaper now, and the internet came, and that sure made things a lot easier. Michael had a dictionary that was just brown with fingerprints because he was into it earlier than I was. And
Yeah, we
Yeah,
didn't
he's-
have the internet at that time, so it was just tedious.
yeah,
It was
scanning.
really
Remember
Oh.
scanners? Or you guys probably don't remember scanners. It's like
yeah.
cassettes. Back
Yeah.
then. You can look it up on Google it.
Yeah, we had what was it? It was Philip McCaney, which is from, I don't know if anybody knows him, but anyway, he was involved with the case quite a long time ago, and he had told me that he used a global link translator, and he gave me the software for it. And so what we would do is scan the GL and then put it through this global link translation program, and then it would give you, then it would print it
Optical
out.
character recognition, right?
Yeah.
You had to go through that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh
And then
my gosh.
and then you'd have each sentence, one sentence in English, one sentence in German, one sentence in English and German, and that's how. And so I would go through the English and I would compare it with the, and it was just really slow going, and then it was what happened was the Talmud of Emmanuel came out, the first version that came out through Celestial Teachings, I think was I can't remember the name of the Celestial Teachings was the other book that was put out by the Wildflower. That's right, Wildflower Publishing. And that Talmud Emmanuel, I started to look at that, and they had the German English side by side, and I thought, wow, this is interesting. I could, and I started to compare the two versions, the German with the English, and I was, then I started to see that there were inconsistencies, and then I was going, okay, now. But anyway, we started very slowly. It's been much more difficult for me than for Catherine to learn German. It's been years and years, but now that we have DeepL, we have Lingui, we have
Figudict and
Figudict and DictCC. Yeah, and just doing it over and over again and just becoming familiar with words, eventually it kind of starts to penetrate. So, yeah.
We're not spring chickens, clearly. So it takes a little longer. But, if we can do it, you sure can.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
No, I completely agree with you. This whole thing that I was listening to, it was just really inspirational, because everyone needs to really get into it to understand it, as well as really help out in terms of translations, because there are over how many number of books, over 40 plus books, 50 plus books that need translations.
60 plus.
60 plus books that need translations.
Altogether.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you were mentioning about scanners and all. I was thinking about the time when we now open Stimme Devasa Manzai, and you just open Google Lens in the side, and you can kind of scan it now. You have the option of translating it right there, a rough translation that you can get to understand. So I completely understand that what it would have been at that time to really learn the language, with the posters and the charts that you were talking about, how challenging it would have been. But yeah, really, we need to pick it up. Yeah, as honestly as I can say it. So we need to actually pick it up and do it.
Yeah. And for myself, when I was using the Global Link Translation program, it was like a crutch. And then I saw that Catherine she had given up her crutch. She started out that way as well, just because it was an easy solution to have an instant rough translation that you could compare with the German. But then she just said, I'm not doing that. And she started to read the German and would underline the words that she didn't understand, and then look them up and write on the side of the paragraph what it meant. And she did this ahead of me, and then she wasn't using this crutch anymore. And I was going, wow, I got to do the same thing. So it was an inspiration for me to start doing it that way as well.
And this was all self-learning, most of it.
Yeah.
Most of it, yeah. We both had opportunities to do a couple of beginner courses through Continuing Board of Education, night courses. It's really good to get the overview of the grammatical, basic structures of the language, right? That the verbs go at the end, and then, they like to spin things around, and all the conjugations and that kind of thing, the tenses. So that's how we both started. We both did those, and it was all about how to get to the train and where's the post office and all kinds of things you'd never want to know, but at least you had the overview, and that's important.
Yeah.
And now, is it like when you visit the center, is it conversation level wherein you can speak to Billy or Christian? No, it's not there yet. Okay.
No, because that wasn't the point of it anyway, because we don't, because of
Exactly.
the fact that we don't live in a German speaking language, we weren't learning it to have conversations. Though I have been able to actually limp along with some people when I visited there. But, and also, when they start speaking in the Schweizerdeutsch, it's like, and they put zoo in some words. It's like, anyway, so forget it. But so the whole point was to be able to read it and learn this material more so than conversing. A lot of them speak English, and we can limp along also with the other ones there that aren't so good with the German. And we go there once every 2 years, maybe once a year. I've been about 7 or 8 times. Michael's been, I don't know, 12, 13. We've lost count. So we were both back there. Last time was 2018 for us. And probably won't ever go again. Just because now you have to have the, dare we not say, what, to be able to travel. So unless, we can get a private Lear jet or, get a really good boat. Yeah. I don't think we're going there anytime soon.
Yeah. I mean, it's. I was thinking about it. It's like we just Gajinder and I. We recently. Actually, Gajinder became a member before me, but I recently became a passive member in June. So we were talking about it. We were like, when do you think, Gajinder, is the we'll be able to actually go to meet Billy or to meet Christian face to face? But yeah, with these situations, it's a little bit challenging. Let's see. I still have hope.
Yes. And Darshan, you've been there, we know, at least once. Have you been more than once?
Yeah. My first time was in 2013, and then I started, going almost every year. I think I skipped 1 year in between, and then in 2018 was my last time. Yeah.
Oh, sorry, we missed you. I guess you didn't come at the time of the passive group meetings.
No, never. After that.
Oh.
Always after that, because I had my holidays, meaning in my college, so I get this summer break. Yeah, summer break.
Yeah.
So
I see.
So it's always after the passive group members meet.
Yes.
Which was in.
Now you're all
which used to
passive
be in May.
members, right?
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
May, right. That's right, May, end of May.
Yeah.
And you're all 4 are passive members?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When we were starting out, we were encouraged to really go ahead and start with a Studian group by Christian, and we thought we'll take it a little bit slowly, organize ourselves. First we got to learn how to function with each other before we function the group.
Yes.
So we've actually picked that up quite well. I think we all have our in our minds what we need to do, and it's so good to really function like that as a group. So yeah.
Yeah, no kidding.
Yeah,
That's great.
it can be really challenging. So, as you've probably read, with the experiences back in Switzerland, at the beginning, it's everybody has different perspectives and egos, and we've got to, I mean, we have to have ego, but I mean, it's just as if we could set aside the differences to, find our own ways to do things and cooperate, and not let the high-handedness or the thinking that you're better than another, or it's the difference is kind of working out, putting aside the differences to, even though it's important that we're all different. Obviously, we're all going to be different. We all think differently, but somehow finding that common ground where you can cooperate and not have any expectations on the other person's. That's the other thing too, right? One person might do more than another, and that's okay. We do what we contribute how we can, and everybody has different skills to offer, and different perspectives. So yeah, it's challenging, and it's good. It's a good learning experience for everybody to learn to work together. And
Absolutely. And
That's important for our evolution.
exactly.
Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah.
No, I was saying it binds to one factor where, like in your in our business world, we see there's one person leading the thing and making decisions. But when you have a collective where that only the collective has the authority and nothing else, the other things are just roles that people have to perform. It's a work that needs to be done. It's tasks that need to be performed.
Yep.
But when decisions are being made, they need to be made on a collective level. It really makes you think before you speak, because your point is going to be valid that way. It's not one person taking the call that way. So I really appreciate that point to really then kind of connect with everyone contributing their best ahead.
Definitely.
I think,
Yeah.
Gajendra, you had a question.
Yeah.
Yeah, ahead, yeah.
Yeah. I have some questions on FIGU group. How and when the FIGU group was formed in Canada. That's what, we want to have some knowledge, because maybe we can use that knowledge and, that learning for our own group, because we just formed the group few months back. So we are looking for your experience, maybe, which can help us in further developing the group.
Okay. Well, it started with myself at the very beginning, doing these illegal presentations, and finding other people that were interested as well in the material. And so it was very informal at the beginning. It wasn't official in any way. It was just a few people that were interested in the material that were getting together, and we would discuss a book. That was, and then from that, it went from an informal study group to something that was more official, which was actually became official. And in the process of becoming official, there were upheavals and transitions, and new people coming and people leaving. I mean, it was challenging. Again, the personality differences, and but it's been. Well, it's been obviously a learning process, a growing process. It was when it became official, was when we had to have someone taking notes, a secretary. We had to go through the various roles. At the beginning, that didn't exist, and then when it became official, that's when those different tasks were. Happened, were designated, and
becoming official. If I could just jump in, involved becoming an official not-for-profit. So that meant going through all the governmental bureaucracy of getting that registered too, and a bit of a learning curve, and
this
having
is
to
with relation to
file.
Landis Group.
Yeah, that's later. Yeah. But yeah, that's what it progressed. That was the natural progression from a informal, very informal, to a little bit more formal study group, and then to an official study group, and then from the official study group, then it became an official not-for-profit. As the group got larger and there were more passive members, and and it was, so it was a natural progression. It started very small, just a few people, just 2 3 of us that were interested, and we meet on a regular basis, and then it became bigger and bigger, and it went through many changes, and but there's always been that perseverance to this thing. Is even if there's nobody else that's interested, I'm interested, and I want to continue with this because I see the truth in it, and no matter how much I know about it, there's so much more to know. And it seems like it's like what Catherine said at the beginning. You had no idea what you're getting into at the beginning. It's like you start and it's just like, oh, this is interesting. But then there's no end to it. There's always more information and more and deeper understandings, and of course, the practical application of the stuff too. How does it apply? How does it pertain to my thinking, my reality, my personality? How can I change myself? Because nobody's telling you anything what to do and what you should do and how you should or shouldn't be. This is all self work, self responsibility work.
Absolutely.
What are the major challenges you faced, while forming all these informal and formal groups, and how did you overcome those challenges? Probably we are going to face the similar kind of challenges.
Well, hopefully you won't. You won't. But you never know. I mean, people are different. Each person is different, and there can be misunderstandings. So, it's probably a good idea to have some a time in your meetings where if you have any problems that are coming up, like to speak about them openly with each other. Set aside a little time to say, well, this is I have a that might be a good idea if there were before things fester and get really crazy between people. You just speak out. A neutral time where you set aside a little time to figure out your problems, if there are problems. And, it could be little misunderstandings or different perspectives that you just, you get to understand another person, how they see things. And, so that's, at the beginning, it was, just probably myself, I wasn't still, there's, mature enough, or we all have our it's a growing process. We all make our mistakes, and we all learn from our ways of thinking, and so it's just tolerance and patience, and what else is understanding too. We all make mistakes. We all come from different backgrounds. We have different problems to cope with, different personality things that we need to improve on, work on, so that we can just have a better understanding of not only ourselves but others around us. And so it's an ever-ending never-ending process. We all have different perspectives.
Yeah, so aside from that, the interpersonal, which is probably the biggest part of it all, but it's just also deciding on the tasks that we want to undertake as a group and agree upon. And, for us, mainly, we came to the agreement that it was getting books translated and published. That's the most priority thing. We got to get those out. And that's where most of our focus, most of our energy went. Well, for a few of us, some other people, parts of the group, might have had other, areas of interest, and, wanting to maybe work on building a physical center or something like that. So, some more energies went in that direction, and not everybody is inclined to doing the translating or learning the German. So, have quite the handle on the English grammar. So, everything we all find our little ways, and some people have more time to put into it than others. There's some of us are running, full-time 24/7 businesses. So, there's all that too. And again, it comes down to not having expectations of others and just staying strong, staying on the course of what you can do, but not expect that others are going to be able to work to the same extent or have the same
skills or talents.
skills. Yeah.
And
Yeah. So that's yeah.
that's right. And so that's a key factor. Not expect that everybody put out the same, and that each person is a decides for themselves what they want to do, not someone telling them what they should be doing or what they could be doing. That each person has to feel comfortable from their own motivation, their own desire to, I really am interested in that. I'd like to do that. And so whatever it is that you like to do or feel comfortable doing or are motivated, not pressured into doing it, but just because you feel like you volunteer freely, because it's all about freedom, freely choose, I like that, I want to do that. And so that's key, that it's not a hierarchical system, like as you were saying in the business community, where there's someone telling you what you should do and what you can't do and how you're supposed to do it. So yeah,
and that's also the this thing in business too, that we're all team players and everybody has to pull their weight.
Yeah.
Forget that.
It's just said.
Yeah, we are team players, but we're all working from our own individual impetus, basically.
Yeah. The struggle is real, but then so is evolution.
Yes, that's right.
Another question is, Canada is a big country, and
Yes.
it's India also is a big country.
Yes.
So, do you have members from only on one area, or do you have members spread over all the countries in different locations?
Well, originally we were set up to be a community that was based out of Toronto, out of the Greater Toronto Area, aka the GTA, and so that we could meet in person. And it was not encouraged by FIGU Switzerland that we meet over the internet. It was, if you can meet in person, that's much preferred. They made the one exception for Australia because they were all spread out across, that country. So in the beginning, that's how it was, and it still is. Yet, some of us are in Toronto, which is 2 hours from where we are, and then a few of us have sort of bought land up where we are, 2 hours north of Toronto, and there's about four households now. Yeah, 4 households up here. 2 are right close to us, and another person's further away. So now with this, we're all meeting on Zoom, and we could potentially open it up to other members if they were so inclined to join across Canada, because it looks like we'll be meeting in this Zoom situation for some time. Who knows how long, but yeah, so it was one thing that's what was preferred by Switzerland, but now the reality we're facing has it opened it up to another possibility. And as of yet, we don't have anyone from afar, but it could happen. There's not that terribly many passive members in Canada, maybe 18 all across
18
Canada.
passive members.
Roughly. I'm just off the top of my head. I don't have my list in front of me, but there's not
And
a lot of us.
And how many of those passive members are actually active is another story too.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, everybody's busy. Everybody has their own time to spend,
Yeah.
and
Yep.
yeah.
So, do you
It's
have
a
some
lot-
group
it's a-
activities like meditation and all these kind of things, which normally, as per the guidelines, we need to do some meditations when we have some group activities. So, how you were doing all these, meditations and group studies?
We weren't doing any group studying together, and we would meet for the the peace meditation at the time. The people that were up here, but the people in the city, they all had their businesses running, so I don't think they were doing the peace meditation on the weekends. On those weekends, as far as I know. But
Well-
now they have adjusted the time so that can be done, separately at different times. I'm not sure what was happening there, but yeah.
Well-
So we don't study together.
Well, so
Yeah.
one of the things that we were doing, have been doing for many years, is holding, excuse me, once a month public meetings. And of course, when the pandemic hit, that changed things. But up until that time, we would meet once a month at a library or a community center, and we would advertise it.
That wasn't our whole group. That was just a couple of us doing it.
Yeah, we decided that was something that we would like to do, and just to keep it open to general public. We also were involved in doing shows at the time, health shows and various other information sessions of sorts. And in these public meetings, we would spend some time answering people's questions, but also studying some of the material. We would read a few sentences from Goblet of the Truth, for example, or other books, and discuss the material, see if it made sense or not, and just very neutrally look at it. And so it was an opportunity for people to just to see if this is something that's valid or valuable for them personally. So and now we have progressed from the meeting in person at the public meetings to the Zoom meetings once a month for people in Canada. So it's surprising how many people actually are, live in Canada that are interested but are not passive members. They're just interested in what's going on with FIGU, and so that's it. So that's another. And we do, in our public meetings, we do presentations of different sorts. So there is some spiritual teaching going on there. That's I guess that's the other. With our group, it's not as much the spirit. It's like I think there's a tendency to that we study on our own, the spiritual, because it's also a very personal thing, what we're interested in, what books we're reading, or but that could be revisited too in the future if we try to. We have talked about setting time aside for that, but the public meetings too. There is a certain amount of spiritual teaching going on, discussion and examining and thinking about the material. So anybody in Canada is welcome to be part of that. So that's how we do it.
And has that gone up
other group members.
after COVID? Like the number of participations and number of people joining in?
Is it open?
No, I'm saying has it gone? Has it increased post the pandemic time? Because people would be more interested to hear maybe what Billy has to say.
It's hard to say. I mean, it's increased because more people have access to our public meetings now from across Canada. We still have a lot of the usual suspects that used to come out to our meetings at the libraries there in Toronto. But yeah, you'd think it has increased with the pandemic. We certainly are getting our orders for books have gone up, but so have our number of books. But yeah, we're shipping just about every day. I mean, Michael is our shipping department. Pretty much. So heading out to the post office just about daily, and lots of orders from Michael Horn and from Billy Books over in Hong Kong.
Okay.
So it's good. Yeah.
All right. Shreya, you had some questions.
Yep, but unfortunately, I don't have that list on me with
No
this
problem.
laptop.
No
So if
problem.
you already have that, if you can just read them
Yeah.
out.
Sure. I think what you wanted
Thank
to
you.
ask was around meditation, right? How? So I think the question was, and what we discussed about, right? How do you meditate personally? Like, is there, when you started out yourself, you started out with the concentration exercises, and then picked up a particular meditation that you wanted to do, like rose meditation or the Om meditation, and how does that really, affect you in terms of, functional aspects of the group, or just personally in terms of your activities?
Yeah, go ahead. All right. Well, let's see. There's so many different types of meditation, and it seems like each time I start doing the meditation, I don't know if I'm going backwards or forwards. It's just it's quite a challenge, but probably in the long term, it's having a positive effect on the way I look at life. There are so many different objects of meditation, or so many different techniques. I go through different phases too. Sometimes doing there was a phase where I was just doing the Om meditation. Now I'm going through a different phase with self-suggestions as well for character improvement. And inspired through the GL. Okay, so if anybody decides to do the GL, I highly recommend it, because there's a lot of information there that you just won't find in any of the other the books that Billy's written. So there's a lot of information in the Geisteslehre, so the spiritual teaching, or the creation energy teaching. So there are different types of meditation, and each person has to find what meditation works for them. And the breathing meditation is one that I've just recently started going back to. The simple, not so simple breathing meditation. I mean, itself is a very easy, simple idea to comprehend, that you just pay attention to the breathing and the air coming in and going out. That's why I really like Jimmy's video that he's recently put up, because it's you're thinking, and then all of a sudden a distraction pops in, like the cake or the shopping cart or whatever. He must have been hungry when he was doing the video, because there's all these food things that keep popping in. But it was just that's what happens. I mean, reality is that when you're doing your meditation, there are distractions that just come back, and so we need to have patience when you see the distraction, and okay, let's get back to to what we're our goal is, which is the breathing. And so that is a challenge. It's every day it's a new challenge, and depending on how rested you are, will make it easier to focus on the breathing or not. And then we have our little timer. We've got an app. It's what is it? Quiet Mind, I think it's called, and it's a little bell that goes off. You can set it to go off whenever you want, and so we go off every 2 minutes, just to bing, it's just a reminder. Okay, you're here meditating, and so that's a useful tool. And for a while, we were also
have the C sharp, the creational. You have the creational C sharp drone.
Yeah, that was tuned at. It was it was tuned at the.
Down to.
Yeah, what was the calibration? I can't remember. It's in one of the special bulletins. I can't even remember which special bulletin. The effect of frequencies, sound. That there's some for that's good for meditative as a background. So I tried that for a while. Like a drone. Of course, there's the red light. You can have a red light that's in your little meditation space. You can have you could use incense or a diffuser. Like the vaporizer. Where you just have a candle and you let the essential oil. Not the one that pushes the water particles into the air, but the one that actually evaporates the fragrance. So that could be
diffuser. We call it diffuser. Yeah.
There's there's electric diffusers that push the air out, like not that type. This is more like just a
with the candle
diffuser, I suppose.
Yeah.
Doesn't put so many particles into the air that catch dust.
Okay, it's like a stand where you put in a candle there. And
that's right. And a little pot of water with some drops of oil.
Yeah. And there's all kinds of nice little fragrances that you can use, and so that's another thing that I know Catherine does that more than I do.
So then,
I like to use a candle too.
Okay.
Yeah.
What?
What I was saying was, so then, I mean, the type of meditation that you choose really would boil down to your concentration level, because breathing, although, it sounds very simple, just focus on your nostrils and, focus on the breath going in, going out. It is the hardest to do because you're not hearing anything. There's no noise, and if you're in a silent environment, you do tend to start thinking of food or something else, whatever. So in those cases, then if your concentration isn't that built enough, it's better to start with something which is more auditory or in terms of a meditation. Just popped in my mind right now.
More auditory, you said?
Yeah, like for example, the Om meditation, right? You're loudly saying Om, or a concentration on maybe music that some soft music that you can kind of focus on and meditate. So, would it really depend then on on the concentration level that you have? Because there you can really focus. You're listening to it rather than breathing in and out.
Maybe. For me, I find music, I guess having been a musician, it's distracting. I don't like to have the auditory myself, like even that drone that was going on with the C sharp. I could hear here comes that part where they put the fifth in, and then it goes to this, and that's okay. Get that out of here. I need personally, I need to have silence. And, I think any meditation is it's just a matter of finding your object of concentration. And for some people, it may be auditory, others visual, others just, whatever. It's so hard. I mean, the crux is to catch yourself when you're just starting to divert. That is the hardest part.
Great, yeah.
And it seems like such a paradox because, they say nature abhors a vacuum. Yet on the other hand, creation is in constant motion. It is never still. And you're asking us to be still and to have nothing. Like, how can you have nothing? So this is the whole thing for me. Okay, catch my thoughts, go back to the nothing, try to hold that nothing, but on a concentration object, just so I can start sinking into myself. This is all theoretical. I'm not, by no means am I any kind of an adept at any of this, but this is what I see is where we should really be going, where we can start sinking and get to that point where you're no longer aware of your surroundings. You're no longer aware of feeling your hands, where you're just like a ball of energy. So I think that's where we're going to, right? When we die, I think we automatically go there. But to do that while you're still in conscious body, it's bloody hard. So yeah, finding your concentration object, that's the clue, and everybody's going to have a different one. Me, I put a candle on every day, and it's almost like a ritual, even though rituals are not the point of this at all, but it's just part of my grounding. I put the candle on, I have my little scent going. It's usually pine or some kind of a tree scent I find is good, and I put the little dinger that comes on every 2 minutes, and I'll think harmony. Okay, next 2 minutes, I'm just going to think harmony, harmony, harmony. Oh, I'm off to, what are we doing today? Harmony, etc. And if you have a lot of stressors going on, like then some emergencies happened, or you have to go and do this right away afterwards, it's really even harder. But it's part of the evolution, and that's why I think we have so many lives to start to nail this down. And I have no illusions that I'm going to be any kind of a yogi or being able to levitate or anything by the end of my life.
Well, yeah. I mean, it's like it's there. It was mentioned in the contract report, right? Billy was, or not in a contract report. I think in one of the videos that you'd put out, where they were on a tractor, and they were singing along, and through his consciousness powers, he was just steering the tractor.
Yes. Yeah, they go.
There's
There's his one hand's here, and well, we know he doesn't have another one, so who's steering this thing? Yeah.
It's unbelievable what the mind is
Yeah.
capable. It's just, and what Billy, of course, without putting him on a pedestal, just I would think that it just shows us that the potential is incredible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Darshan,
It's only when we get that mind out. Yeah. Go
Yeah.
ahead. Oh, sorry. Darshan.
All right. So just a little precursor, and then I'll come to the question. So when I went to Figu, and when I came back, and then I shared this with Shreya, and I think it's very probably a common thought that when you come back, you want to let's say start a group or something of this sort. And well, we were not very very meticulous with meditating or things like those, although uh, I've been meditating for quite some time, because one of our uncles put us into this vipassana thing, and which I really admire, and I like that technique. So anyways, we wanted to create at least a interest group, and we did have a couple who came, and then everything fizzled out. Never mind. And then now that is the time when we actually have very interested people. And uh, I, I I keep telling Adit and Gajendra that it's incredible that you people never been there, never met Billy or whatever, and just studying the material. Being in India, you went for the membership, and you became member. I think that's a good thing, and for me it's pretty incredible, because I would rather uh, be how do you call it, I would want to research, and I would want to probably meet that person, something like that, and and then only probably would go for it. So first time my college sent me to Germany, and I I made a point that I go to Switzerland, and this is my first ever time uh, going out of India. I was a little jittery, like how will I manage the train and this and that, but well, everything happened. I prepared everything, uh, took printouts of everything, like where to go, get the ticket, this and that, and I ended up pretty well. Stayed there for I think more than a week, and met Billy, and everything was fantastic. Came back, and then again going back. So wanted to start a group, and now that we have a group, everything, and as Catherine, uh, you were saying that some people were interested in creating a physical space like a center or something like that. I think from ever, I don't know, since my childhood, I wanted to design a city. I wanted to design a city, and that thing kind of culminated into this, that okay, I want to make a center now. So obviously the other parts will be there. um, and as you people are putting everything, it's like when we are together and the thought becoming material, and books and space and people. um, my question is, how do you uh, I'm not asking ensure, but I'm sure you would like this to go in future, because I would for sure want to go this in future. Rather, I when I think about it, I think that this is for future, not for us really. This particular center which I'm talking about, and we bought a land
Oh yeah.
in India, yeah, and lot of sketching and lot of brainstorming. Me and Shreya, we keep talking and sketching, and there's a lot of work gone into it, and we shared this with Christian also. But the thing is now, there's this little thing also in my mind, that if we don't have more and more people to join and actually come there to live with us, because the space is big, it's like around 30 acres land, and
Wow.
so yeah, I mean, but I never had a doubt about having a group in India. I was sure that we would be, a little group will be there in future. But uh, how will this go in future? It is kind of a little thought in my mind, like how do you guys feel, or I don't know. I mean, this is not to ensure, we do our part and obviously we pass away. Mm, but yeah, I mean, if when we come up with things, we do want that somebody should be using this, or taking this further. I don't know. uh, what do you think, Michael?
Yeah, it's hard to know. It's it's so up to each person to find it or not find it. You you can't go out there and actively try to recruit people. It's each person will, if they're searching, they're going to, if they're looking for something, they'll find it, and you can't really force these things. It's really yeah, it is we are the forerunners, essentially, for the future. um, we're doing it because we're naturally curious and want to find out more about what is true, what is truth, and how can I be a better human being, and how can I be free, and what, all the good stuff about having a bigger perspective on the meaning of life. And that has to do with our own personal evolution. And you can't force anybody into that. They have to come to it at their own pace, at their own time. And so, you do what you can for yourself and for the people, as a cooperation, or even what we have going on, which I don't really want to talk too much about, but it feels like it's ahead of its time, and we don't know if there are going to be other people in the future that will be willing to continue this but we can hope that it will all work out. I mean, I think it will. I think that there's a lot ahead of us that is going to be very interesting, especially like reading the Nocodamian information, the questions and answers, and the spirit form of Nocodamian will be coming back as a person, just like nobody special, but has a lot of knowledge, and nobody will know the connections there, but this person will be around and guide. There's all this material that we have to, of course, come to a better understanding and apply, and that's not only know the knowledge, but also to make use of the our own consciousness abilities, and so that's the whole thing about the evolution process, the personal evolution process. So that will continue into the future, and will continue with I mean, it's a challenge, I think, that even Switzerland faces, of finding younger people that are, interested and willing to carry the ball, So this is, but you do what you can to make the information available in a neutral way. And there'll be some that will be attracted to the material through their own impetus, through their own questioning, through their own investigating, and they'll say, "Oh yeah, I like what this is. I'm going to investigate it more." And then it becomes like, once you're hooked, it's not like anything like a cult. It's once you're hooked with your own. I don't even know what it is. It's like it's like a curiosity.
Yeah.
There's
Which never
always
stops.
more information to learn and new things to find out about, and it's like you're hooked with by yourself. You hooked yourself into this thing. I don't know how, it's like one day, it was just a honest, innocent looking at this little UFO flying around on a TV screen, and then it's like 30 years later, and it's still investigating this thing and still finding out new stuff. And it's not, I don't feel any pressure about it. I just feel like it feels right to do it. It's just, when you first start reading the material, it either resonates with you or it doesn't. Either it makes sense or it doesn't, or it's something that pulls you in somehow,
Yeah.
or it doesn't. And either way, it's okay, because again, it's a personal journey. Some material might feel more interesting to you than others, but if you, what I wanted to say is that everybody's going to find something different in the material, and you can, if you can find a way to share the material without being missionizing. In other words, if you find a way to, like the public meetings is good for us because it allows us to reach out to people that, they don't want to make a commitment to any kind of group or anything like that, but they're interested in meeting other people that are interested in the material, and it gives them a chance to to meet others. It just keeps it alive in a way. And there are many people that are interested in Figu. I'm sure in India there are probably thousands of people that are heard of Billy, maybe even more, that their own, check out the stuff on the internet, are doing their own little personal studying, but they're not ready yet at this point in time to meet up with other people and be part of any kind of group or anything like that. They just want to do it on their own, and that's okay. I mean, I think I remember Atlantis was saying when he came here on one of his visits way back when, and he said that. And maybe it's in one of the contact notes. There's so many contact notes. I can't keep track of what's any of that stuff anymore. But there were like several million people on this planet that at a given point in time were already aware of the Meier case, had heard about it through other people that were, in some way or another involved and interested in the material. There are scientists that are reading the contact notes. There are, all types of people that are aware of the Meier case. So it has a life of its own somehow. We do what we can. We have dreams of maybe what we'd like to see it come to, with centers all around the world, and but we are the forerunners. We're before, and so it's hard to know how it's going to move forward. I think who's going to take over. If you, let's say, get you have a property and you build something that you're going to, come together on. I don't know. It's hard to know who's going to be interested in that and who's going to take it over when you die. I mean, when we die, it's the same issue we have as well. Like, don't know.
Yeah, I mean, we're on, we have 40 acres or so, and we're slowly building up our place. I think part of the teaching is you become aware that living close to nature is important. And that has gotten away from a lot of folks who, majority, how much of the population now lives in urban centers, crammed in little houses and apartments. So I think as people start realizing and getting into it that, I think I do want to be in the country, and that might eventually propel people to also gravitate more towards, I don't know, not necessarily living together, but living close to each other. I mean, it's huge. When you take on the thought of building a center, the work is unbelievable. If it's just two of you, it's going to be overwhelming. I mean, you really have to get the critical mass of people who are really starting to get into the information. So I think as forerunners, we might tend to put the cart ahead of our horses, sometimes a little early, and we really need to just sort of take the patience that might not be for another 40 years until you have some people that come along and go, oh yeah, this is interesting. I've been reading this for the last 10 to 15 years, and I think I want to be in the country. Can I come out, put my tent here, or can I build a little yurt, or can I, maybe get some land beside you, and we can start having a community that's at least close together and can be there to help each other out, especially in the times that are coming, with it's going to get rougher and rougher. We're running out of, fossil fuels. We're going to all need to learn to be more self-sustainable. We may have to go back to old techniques of living that we've lost. So, learn how to can and preserve your vegetables, distill water, whatever you have to do. All these sort of survival skills, I think, are going to be something that we're going to really have to take into consideration and put into practical use, because the fossil fuels they're not getting more, and we're getting more. They're going down. We haven't come up with a new energy source that's going to be free and, have unlimited energy for everybody. I mean, we know we're eventually going to get there, because in 500 years, we're supposed to be having space stations up on the moon and stuff. So it's going to come, whether it comes in our own lifetimes. We're here for the hard times. And so, to be hoping to have centers and everything when there's still so few and far between of us that are even into this enough to get to the point where, A, I'm ready to be in a group, and B, I'm even more ready to go and live with a bunch of people. That's another huge thing. I mean, it's just hard enough sometimes to be in a group and to get beyond our interpersonal things. Never mind, start thinking about living together and working together, and the hard physical labor that's involved in actually physically building. Okay, we're going to have this. We're going to put maybe have a pyramid room here. Oh yeah, okay. Where are we getting the copper? How are we paying for this? Who's going to do this? Who's doing the food? Who's it's huge. So 2 or 3 people, they're going to start feeling really resentful. Anyway, so you know how it goes. Human nature, blah blah blah. Yeah, so let's try to keep the cart a bit closer to us. Is the crux of the program here.
Yeah. Yes.
I really like the point in terms of the forerunners, because I'd like to defer to you both there, Catherine and Michael, because in terms of personally me, inspiring me also to get into this is through you making it easier for us to really understand it. That I personally feel that has really helped in terms of grasping so many of the many concepts that wouldn't have been maybe available if there was no translations done, or if your videos weren't available. So I think in terms of what you do in terms of publishing these videos and the content that you put out really broadens people's horizons and thinking, I suppose. I mean, it did for me, and I'm sure for the others in our group as well. Definitely.
Yeah, yes, absolutely.
Yeah, I agree as well. Yeah, for us.
If you have to rate something, it is, FIGU Canada, where else, so.
I agree, yeah.
Also, the presentations they have made everything so comprehensive, and broken them down into chewable pieces where we can take the information, chew it, and process that in ourselves and our lives. So that kind of cutting it down to something which is like small and palatable. It's done by you guys. I really want to thank you for that. Yeah.
Well, it's all Michael.
Oh, it's all Catherine.
No, really, Michael's really a power horse at that. He's an inspiration for me. It's like a competition, and Jimmy, of course, too. Yeah.
Jimmy has worked very hard, with.
Yeah.
Anyway, we don't. He doesn't want to be mentioned about that. So, but the thing is, it's we all do what we do, and we. Whatever we're interested in, we pursue. And, discovering about reincarnation. And see, the problem is that there was stuff that I didn't understand. Like for example, what is the overall consciousness block? I'd be reading the material and I'd say, what the heck is the overall consciousness block? And it would be like, okay, I got to investigate this and try to figure out what people are talking about here. And so that's how it is. Or recently it was about the dimensions of creation. I didn't understand, and it's all there. It's all written in the contact notes. The information is there. It's just research and interest and curiosity. And if there's something that you don't understand, then investigate and then make it again. The other one was the fluidal energies. Like, what are fluidal energies? What the heck is that? And wanting to figure that out. And so, it's incredible. Don't ever cremate. that's the and don't do organ transplants because that's not so good. And there's information that is very practically useful, and the reasons. It's not just information saying this is how you should do things, but why and how it works. And so that's it's interesting that way. And of course the advice too is interesting. Like the Patali advice coming from in the Decalogue and that kind of stuff too. We have to thank Billy for all this incredible information and access to all of this information. And he writes it in a very clear way. So he repeats himself in so many different ways, and to make it from different perspectives and angles, and just so that it's such an incredible task that he's under. He had no choice. He had choice, but that he's undertaken and to share this knowledge not only for ourselves but for the Pleiadian people. All the books that he's written, it's being shared with the extraterrestrials. They're all studying his material. It's the knowledge. He's the knowledge for, if I was talking to any normal person, they'd think, oh my gosh, he's totally lost his mind. This guy is the prophet of the universe, but I can't say I know and I don't know, or I believe or I don't believe. I'm just saying the information is so incredible. And that each person will have to decide for themselves whether it resonates with them or not. But it's incredible. We're so lucky to be here at this point in time, and to have access to this information and recognize the truth in the information. That's incredible too. That shows that you've probably thought about this stuff before, not you in your current life, but in previous incarnations. You've thought through, searched for meaning in life, and that's why it becomes easier for you to digest this material, because you can already see the truth. You see the glimmer of truth in the material, or you just get totally swept up. Yeah, this is so right on, and yet in the enthusiasm, the danger is that if you get enthusiastic about it, you might expect others to feel the same way. Exactly. But no, that's not going to happen. No, because they'll agree with you. Oh yeah, but then they're going to go the other way really quick when you're not looking.
Michael, I had one question. You had mentioned on the 7 dimensions, and I was watching the video that you'd put out in terms of each creation having 7 dimensions. So just to lay out a context for that question, so there are 7 dimensions. Each dimension has innumerable number of space-time configurations. The Pleiadian live in the Ankar dimension, in the Cirrus space-time configuration, I believe, and we are in the Dern dimension. So, and there's that fraction of a time difference that's mentioned. I just sort of wanted to understand, when we see physically the Pleiades star system, there's no life that's there on those systems, right? So what
Right.
is has anything been mentioned in terms of, what the solar system or what the Earth looks like in terms of, the anchor dimension, like what they see for our region of space?
I haven't seen anything about that. I mean,
That's a good question.
it's kind of really odd the way the dimensions somehow are interrelated. It's really kind of Catherine had a good uh, uh, analogy, which was kind of like plates. But I like Billy's analogy with the balloons inside of each other, and and somehow um, you know uh, the location that's is somehow that's the part that's really kind of odd is um, they're the Pleiadian star system is just beyond our Pleiades, and so there's somehow a relationship between our space and their space, and yet there's a difference in the split second time difference or the dimensional difference, or it's really kind of weird that there is that relationship, and yet you know so I don't understand it. I mean, I don't know what in their dimension in our area where the earth is. I have no idea what would be there in their dimension. There could be like some kind of planet in their dimension that has the name uh, Terra something or another, which is 80 light years beyond the Earth and this space-time continuum. I have no idea. You know, but yeah. So
But that
don't know.
concept of like another dimension having another you is really not does not really make sense, right? Because if there's one spirit form, then there's
Oh,
the
yeah,
one
of
overall
course.
No.
consciousness block, and the respective consciousness blocks.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. But then the other thing that's really confusing is how somehow there can be a dividing of that. For example, uh, when Billy was at the center and was going to go into what was it, into the past, or into the into the Bermuda Triangle. I don't know if you remember that, something like that. They were going to enter that
This,
and go into
yeah.
different dimensions, right? And but the ship that I don't know who it was maybe Semyasi who was piloting the ship. She said that her ship was not capable of it. So what we're going to do is we'll wait until I don't know who it was, Quetzal
Ta.
or whoever,
I think it was
or
Ta.
Ta was going to
Yeah.
come with a more advanced ship that was able to go in and come out again. Her ship was able to go in but wasn't able to come out again, something like that. And so they were waiting. You remember this story? They were waiting. She said, "Well, we'll wait for him to come, and in the meantime, we'll go back 2 weeks in time, and we'll just hover over the center." And so he's in the ship, and he's saying, "Well, that's really strange. Now I'm down there working, and I'm up here in the ship, and." So that means I could go down and knock on the door and see myself open the door and look at my dumb face as I looked at myself, my future self, right? And so, to me, that's kind of odd too. That the spirit or the creation energy part piece within the human being can actually be in different times all at the same time, which is really bizarre. I can't even, there's so many things that I just can't really fathom how it works, but just strange stuff.
Yeah, I mean, it's really mind-boggling, especially the time travel part and everything to do with it is really quite a bit to grasp. Even I was the one that Francesco Valetti, Ralzai, he had a video on that as well. That was also quite interesting, and he was explaining the grandfather paradox over there, right? From the basis of that, where if you go back in the past, you kill your grandfather, then will I be born there? Will my father be born? So
Yeah.
that was some good explanation that he mentioned for that.
Yeah.
And then of course, then there's stuff that happens when you travel into the past that had and for example, when Billy went into the past, into the 14th century France with Ascot, and they met the the monk in the in the country in France, yeah, and the guy the Russian guy that they time traveled with. Are everybody familiar with this story?
Yeah,
No,
yeah.
I don't know this one.
Oh, okay. So what happened was Billy was with Ascot in the desert in the Middle East, and they accidentally ran into this Russian guy that was camping. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. I don't. Yeah, Jitsi, and so they took him along. Right, he agreed finally to come along on this time traveling thing. He didn't even know he was going to go time traveling until it was happening. But he agreed to go on to this adventure. And in the 14th century, he had brought with him, because all his belongings on this trip, he had brought this battery pack, which he used to put around the perimeter of his campground so that intruders, he'd be forewarned because they get electrocuted. It's like a cattle wire. So he brought this back into the 14th century, and I guess he was having a conversation with this monk guy, or this guy that was no, he wasn't a monk. He was a rabbi, I think. Yeah, but he wasn't really a rabbi. He was I don't know what he was. He was living in. He had this cabin in the country anyway, and so he showed him, and he left it behind with him, and then it turns out that there was a book, and so this rabbi guy used it to electrify, I think, the door handle on his cabin, so that anybody coming to the cabin would get a zap, right? And so he was like a wizard type of person, right? Anyway, apparently there was a book that was written that some guy in the early France had a battery. Now I don't know where the information is. I'm sure I could find it again, but so that just goes to show you that the future can influence the past somehow. But it had to happen too, because the book came out. This is kind of strange things.
Yeah.
Wow, this is a very interesting story. I didn't know about this one. I think this is in line with Ascot's time when she took Billy to meet Emmanuel. It was around that time, because there also, I believe, they had taken Jitsi, and there was one person who I think who was quite interested in the battery and the lighting and everything that Jitsi was carrying. Yeah.
And the other thing that we found out, which was really interesting, was but that's not time travel. But how Svat tried to influence who was it? The guy from dropping the bombs and during the Second World War.
Nixon, sorry.
Not Nixon.
That was Truman.
Truman.
Yeah.
Yeah, Truman.
Oh yes.
Yeah, that's crazy too. That Svat was like trying to influence, the world, because he could see that what was going to happen. But I guess having the ability to see into like the future, like maybe that's probably they had that, they were looking at that too. They were looking, doing their best to yeah. But I guess certain things have to happen. That's the other thing too about probably meditation is just thought about it. The time traveling aspect of meditation, and so there's so many things that we are capable of, would be capable of doing, we will be capable of doing in time, so it's better to try to get a handle on meditation the best you can. If you want, the sooner you get a handle on it, the sooner there'll be new doors opening. That's what it is. This material is like each door that you open, there's a new door to open. There's more knowledge and more information and more understandings, and then there's a new door to open. It's just more and more and more, right?
Very right. The more you dig, the more you find. I think I'm just looking at the watch right now, and it's going to be 2 hours soon. So I don't want to really, we don't want to keep you too long, Catherine and Michael. Your Saturday is just begun. So if anybody has any other questions, we can maybe, yeah, Darshan, go ahead.
Okay, so going back to the same thing, from your experience, yes, we know that we will be growing vegetables. We would have a volunteer house, hostel kind of a thing where people will come and go and probably help us with things, this and that. And we are building a library, and so it's like a circular, and in the center there is a meditation hall. So this is one which is like, for me it is like the most prime thing, because we want to have a library, we want to have books from Billy in all languages. That's what I always thought about, that whoever, if some German is coming, he or she would be able to read. A Russian coming, they can read things like those, or Japanese. So whatever languages things are translated so far, we would have all that there in that library. So there's meditation hall, there's library in the same building. There's a volunteer house, hostel, which is separate. Obviously, we would have residence for us, but any suggestion which you think that must be added to this eco village, which I am calling it a eco village, Beam Eco Village. I mean, anything important I'm skipping, probably, you, because you are there. And
Cold cellar.
Cold
Somewhere
cellar.
cold cellar where you can store stuff. Greenhouse.
Mhm.
We have a greenhouse, a cold cellar. What else? Good storage. Maybe
Okay.
A shower block or something where I guess that's be part of the house. Like they have at SSC where they built for the people that come and
Yeah.
have their
Yeah.
that type of thing. Outdoor lockers. I don't know. I hope you're going to be getting all these people because it sounds like you're going to need them. I guess is the other thing about having libraries too, and the fluidal energies and these books.
Mhm.
So that's something to think about too, about reading the information. But I guess it's better to have it available than
Yeah.
not at all.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that's understandable too.
Yeah.
I think the major consideration in India is with regards to the books is, because they have to order it from elsewhere, it gets a little bit expensive.
Yeah.
I mean, the price becomes
Oh.
1.5 to 2 times than
Yes.
what it is. So, yeah, I think that's a little bit of a hesitation. So we were discussing on that aspect as well, how we can probably, help out with that. But it's a very long drawn process to reach that.
Now you
I
guys
mean,
don't live in the same place, though, do you? Right? That was the other thing I think I was talking with Aditya.
Darshan,
So,
Gajinder, and Shreya, they live in Gurgaon. That's near Mehrauli, and I live in Bangalore. So I'm also from Gurgaon, but yeah, I'm working here in Bangalore.
I don't know where Gurgaon is.
Me and Shreya are in Mehrauli, and Gajinder is in Gurgaon.
It's just maybe few
We
50, 11,
we can
20
actually
kilometers from
see
there.
Ashoka Ashram from our rooftop.
Yeah.
You can see Gajinder's place?
No, Ashoka Ashram,
Ashoka Ashram.
where
Oh,
Billy
Ashoka
stayed.
Ashram. Oh,
Yes.
Ashoka. Okay.
We
Amazing.
we went there 2 weeks back.
Oh yeah.
Uh-huh.
Wow.
Yeah, we got some pictures because Billy wanted some pictures. Yeah,
Wow.
of the Ashoka Ashram. So we got some
Really?
pictures, clicked and sent it to Christian.
Wow.
Amazing. And I
That's-
guess, Christian, is he your main contact?
Yeah.
Yes,
He
yes.
sort of oversees you. Okay.
Yes.
Just like
Yeah.
for us. And for, well, I think Australia is Bernadette.
Okay.
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 Yeah.
The Ashoka Ashram. Yeah, those were incredible stories.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. When Phobel came out and talked about her experiences at that UFO Congress for the first time, that was so interesting
Yeah. Yeah.
because she's such a humble person. She's you know
Yeah.
you know she's not trying to lead you down some kind of faulty path.
Yes,
She's just
yes.
saying what it is, right?
Yes.
And it's just yet another thing that made it so incredible too at the same time. Just
Yeah.
that she was having these contacts with Asket, and
Yeah.
all the stuff. Our history, the Earth, what's going on the planet, and all. We know so little of of it. Like it's just crazy. Like the people that were coming, that had blue skin, that were coming
Yeah.
to the ashram to speak with her grandfather or whatever, and it's
Yeah.
just really, this is what's going on the planet. It's, yeah, wow.
Yeah.
But anyway, yeah, that's incredible that you went, and I went to the what was it that well, Catherine and I and a couple other
Oh,
people.
yeah.
Yeah, we went to the
What's Seidelberg or whatever? What was it
no,
called?
no, it
Seidenberg.
wasn't. No.
The
It's
big
an
church
old
that Billy went to when the
monastery.
fluidal powers were attacking
In
them,
Switzerland.
Oh,
Yeah,
Yes,
yeah,
when we were there.
yeah.
I
Yeah.
forgot the name of the place, but I know
Seidenberg.
what you're referring to. Yeah.
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 And we went in there just to as part of our investigation to
Yeah.
like, okay, let's see what happens if we go into this old monastery where Billy had to leave because
Yeah.
it was going to kill him. He was feeling very attacked
Yeah.
by this what is it? It's like a religious block.
Freeform.
Yeah, of fluidal energies, which actually, you've heard about it, or maybe,
Yeah.
how
Still
it
attacking them. Yeah.
how it it influences the people that come in, and then the people that are influenced then further add to the energy of this block.
Mhm.
Anyway, it's on another level. I just you have to be really sensitive. We went into this place and it was just the oddest looking place you can imagine. It's it's got this big
Arches.
well, it's got decorations,
Arches and
Yeah.
stuff all over
gold
the place.
everywhere, and but it had
Tiles.
this what was it? It was like a black what was the some
Oh,
kind of
black
idol
Madonna.
thing,
Yeah.
Madonna or something, and this is like the place that the highly religious people go to, and they're the believers, and really it's just anyway, it was just kind of odd to be there, but I didn't feel threatened. So that goes to
So I
show
don't
you.
think we're quite at that consciousness level where we're a threat to them. So not to worry.
But it's it's part of the investigation. So I just want to say, well, I'm glad. I'd like to hear about your. So what's going on with the Ashoka Ashram? What
Well,
is it
nothing.
still existing?
Yeah, yeah. The building where Billy used to be, the which at that time was a hostel for people who would
Yeah.
come and go, and the statue is there. The trees are there, and the trees are also pretty old. Got them from, I think, Sri Lanka, because we have this like when Buddha attained nirvana, whatever. So that tree, and then that tree was destroyed by, um, uh, I think, Buddha's stepmother or something, or yeah, I think so. And so before that, or something, there's some story. So that tree was somehow was regrafted or something by probably Ashoka or something like that, and then it was spread across this whole continent. So it some saplings went to Sri Lanka, some to Bhutan, something like that. So this kind of a story. And so we have this, the same, let's say, old trees, kind of a progeny in Sri Lanka, and now from there people get, so wherever, if there is some kind of vihara, the stupa, or some sort of building comes up, or meditation center or something. So at times they do these kind of things. So they would get that sapling from that
Oh,
tree,
I see.
and then put it. So one of the sapling is also here at Ashoka Ashram, and yeah, so that is there. And I think the story about this whole, the tree was in iridescent, it was glowing iridescent, with iridescent light, everything. That tree is there. There's outgrowth of grass and weed everywhere, because we had very good rains this time. So nobody there to really take care of the whole thing. That property is in dispute, that whole land. So they really can't make new things or anything. They used to have meditation sessions earlier, but now it looks like it is kind of locked permanently. And there's one old monk who is there, Lobsang or something, some from, I think, Myanmar or so. Um, but very unfriendly guy, because last time when I went there, before visiting Figu, I thought that I'll click pictures and take it to Billy, and I did show it to Billy also, and he was talking to, he was sharing some experiences. Um, but he was very unfriendly. He, I just asked him few questions, but he was very very unfriendly. I said, okay, never mind. So yeah, that's what it is there right now. And we are just hoping that that the hostel remains, because that's very old. And this place was from some nizam, like a king, like a Muslim king kind of a thing. um, and so yeah, there's where uh, this thing was built, and now it is in dispute, some sort of dispute uh, with the government, something like that. But yeah, Fobol shot two videos there, uh, where this
Oh, yeah.
one bearded guy, this sadhu kind of a thing, saint kind of a thing, who used to talk to Billy in Hindi, and Billy would talk in German, but they would converse somehow, I don't know, without understanding each other or understanding each other. I have no clue. But these two videos were sent to me by Christian to translate, and very funny. So that's when I got to know that what this guy is talking about. Pretty very funny. Um,
So I don't understand that. So Billy was having a conversation and the other person was answering back in Hindu,
Hindi, yeah, Hindi
Hindi,
language, yeah,
Hindi,
yeah.
and did Billy speak Hindi?
No,
He was speaking German.
Yeah.
he
They were
was
still
speaking
seeming to
No, but I mean-
understand each other.
I think through
But-
feelings the communication was going on.
I'm so for me at least it's not very strange because these kind of things happen in India
Yeah,
and
they do.
it's
Yeah.
crazy. It's crazy.
Well, what
But,
were they talking about?
Well, so this guy is saying that he would talk about, some experiences in meditation and what happened and this and that, because I think they were together in this different meditations and whatever was happening at that particular point of time. And in the end, he also says that, today it was such a inquiry, like a government, like a kind of an inquiry for me, because Fobol was asking him a question and trying to understand what he remembers of Billy and things like those. So he felt as if it was such an inquiry for him. Yeah. So yeah, I was supposed to translate it. It was pretty fun for me also to know from this guy, and it's a very old video. Very interesting.
But he
So
was
have
there
you
at that time.
translated it, or you were?
Sorry.
Oh, that guy. Yeah, that guy was there. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, they were like, that guy was there at that point of time, and this was like a, kind of a testimonial sort of a, video which probably Christian wanted to have or Figu wanted to have.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
that's why he sent it to
And I
me,
think you
because I
translated
knew
that as well,
I
right?
know Hindi and I could translate it. So I did it in, like, just one, I think 2 hours I did it. I sent it to Christian and he said, "Wow, so quick." I said, "Yeah, it's simple." There's nothing much, but yeah, he's talking about what they used to do and this and meditation sessions and this and that. Yeah, mostly about that.
And so, is that in English, that translation,
um
or did you
I
translate it
I
into
just
German?
typed in English. I don't
It
know
is in
German
English.
so
Oh,
much.
okay.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So you sent it there. So where is that video then? That translation?
It's with Christian.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, that translation which I wrote down must be somewhere in
Oh,
some
I see.
diary somewhere. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
But yeah, very interesting.
Interesting.
So I'm still a little confused about the. So this was when
Billy was
Phobal went
there.
back. Phobal went
Mm.
with this guy back to the Ashoka ashram.
Yes.
that correct?
Yes. Yes.
And then Billy somehow was in conversation with this guy too.
Yeah, like, so there were several people, and of them he was also there. And remember, in one of the contact reports, Willie is talking about these meditation sessions in this full heat, and then I think Dhamavara used to put a, like a, hit their back with this, like a stick, like really really
I
bad.
don't remember that. Okay, I didn't read that.
Yeah. So all this he's talking about, the daily life, and he's also saying that, well, we used to talk, and, but he would talk in Hindi and Billy would talk in German.
I think
funny.
that Billy must have known some Hindi. He must have, because he was there. He was
Probably.
traveling, so he probably understood. It's like Billy knows how to speak English. Well, he knows that pretty well, but
Probably.
he probably knows a lot of different languages, bits and pieces of languages. So It's not that mysterious. And the other guy, I'm not sure how he would understand German.
No,
That's
he
a
would not. He would not. Michael,
no.
this is
Okay.
very common in India. Like, two people who
Yeah.
don't know the languages would just talk. My mother, when she went to Sri Lanka, so there was another woman who was talking in Sinhalese, the language which they speak,
Yeah.
and my mother would talk in her language, and there were conversation. There was a conversation. Yeah,
Nobody.
this happens here in this part of world.
Okay.
Because we love to
Funny.
talk.
Yeah, like I get to experience that a lot because I'm in the south of India. So, it's a whole different set of languages that are spoken. But I know a few words, they know a few, they know English,
Okay.
everybody knows English, but they know a few words of Hindi, I know a few words of their language. So
Yeah.
that way
Yeah.
we get our message
Kind of.
across.
Yeah. Okay.
There's over 200 languages. I mean, every 10 kilometers, 20 kilometers you go, the language changes in India.
Oh, jeez.
So, yeah.
Yeah.
When we would talk to Billy, he would obviously say some few things which he would remember, like parota and roti and like
Roti.
dal, like all these
Food.
food, yeah, food stuff.
Yeah. Acha.
Yeah.
Acha. And the head.
Yeah, with the
Yep, the big head. Very good. Good, Baba.
How long were you here, Catherine, in Pune?
4 months.
Oh, 4 months. I've been to that place. I loved the place, the way they have, and they had a little tour of the place. Just like I was there for half an hour or so, or maybe
Oh,
one
really?
hour, the whole thing, and they
Yeah.
take us inside and just show it from little
Oh, yeah.
distance. Yeah. But
Yeah.
yeah, it's nice because it's like sustainable and all of that. I don't know. I mean, I know from videos and things what all goes inside.
Yeah.
Yeah, but yeah,
Yeah. I took the
yeah,
boat down from Bombay down to
yeah,
Goa. Yeah, that was something too.
yeah.
Anyway, got really sick there. Got really, really sick. Dysentery.
Oh, yeah,
you
yeah,
gotta
yeah.
carry your
That's
own
another
water
whole
bottle.
story.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway. So, and how is it going? If we can ask, how's it going for you guys with the the COVID over there? I think
Well,
we talked about.
in Delhi, the official count is really, really low right now.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, below 50 mostly.
Wow.
2 days back, it was 15. So,
Wow.
Yeah, zero
and
over
we
here
are,
in Karnataka.
yeah,
But
okay.
Wow.
I mean, it's all there. I don't know how many of them are really reported as well. That's another thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's that 1 billion vaccination mark also that everybody is talking about and celebrating over here. I don't know. I'm just getting worried about November. What's going to happen because they're really opening up. And as you were saying, Darshan, on some of your posts where I saw you were talking about it, where opening up right now is a little bit challenging because we can bring that thing again, and there can be another variant that can start. I think last I was checking was the daily count was 14,000 in a day.
Yeah.
Last one.
India.
Yeah, for the
For
whole
India.
country.
Wow, that's
So
pretty good. for the
I'm
whole
in a
country.
city. Yeah, I'm in a city called Banaras, which is a religious city. Here,
Yes.
the count, I don't think it's, even if I know what the count is, it's going to be the real one or valid or legit. But the counts are real low, and people are now, they don't even, wear mask even in the hospitals. So it's that kind of
Really?
situation. And yeah, we are going to have some Hindu festivals lined up in a week or so. We are going to have these festivals, and this festival thing has like 2-3. It starts from 2-3 days before, and it is like that. So a lot of shopping and stuff, and people are already getting complacent about the whole situation. I am not hopeful that we would not have a spike here. But let's see the 1M vaccination mark and other things. I don't think it's going to help, but let's see how it goes, how it rolls for us. But here people are really,
Because we have Diwali coming in,
yeah.
but Shreya's
Yeah.
referring to, it's like one of the biggest festivals in India.
Oh, yeah.
You must have heard about
Diwali,
the
yeah.
Festival of
Yeah.
Lights and all that. So
Oh, yeah.
a lot
Yeah.
of
Yeah.
families getting together and shopping and buying, and in all of this, if you don't have your masks on and don't have your social distancing, then it can get worrying.
Yeah. It's yeah, people have gone a little bit, not a
Lax.
little bit, a lot of,
Yeah,
a
yeah, I
lot
agree.
relaxed.
Well, they're tired of it, right? Everyone's
Yeah.
just tired of it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yes, 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 yes.
It's not tired of us, though, and it's just going to keep
Yeah,
doing what it can do.
yeah, it's
Be
a
more and
virus.
more
It's a,
virulent. So,
yeah,
yeah.
But how's it
yeah,
over there?
it's simple logic.
How is it over there, Catherine and Michael? I mean, the numbers and the situation there.
It's coming down, but again, it's just same thing. Next week, they're going to open up. Oh, now we can, just, everything's getting opened up in the gyms and the bars
Crazy.
and the restaurants. And
In
it's,
fact,
so
in fact, yeah. Here we
we'll
have the
see.
schools are open also. So the
Oh,
kids are going
yes.
to the schools
Yeah.
and
They are here
with their,
too. Yeah.
yeah. So
Masks, or are there parents getting upset about them having to wear masks in this whole thing that's going on here?
Wow.
Yeah.
That's another
So-
that's another dimension.
And then we have the border with the U.S. So that's our joy too, right? Yeah,
And that's
Unfortunately.
opening up.
Yeah.
that's opening up. Yeah,
Oh, crazy.
yeah. But we can only go down there if we're vaccinated. So, and same with them. So the
And,
figure
and
people won't be visiting each other across the border too much.
Is
You
it
know,
official?
We're not even visiting
is it
anyway.
official now? I mean, is it done for you? Know that it's going to happen because there was a lot of push as well that was, in the Western world that was there, right? But is it now set that this vaccine
Pretty
passport
much,
thing is
yeah.
gonna
You
happen?
can't cross the border. I mean, you used to be able to drive, but I think now they're making it even with the driving that you have to.
Okay.
So with the
Yeah.
non-essential, yeah,
it's
yeah.
it's really, really crazy. The whole thing is it's amazing how people believe the authorities
Propaganda. Yeah.
and the propaganda. So it's unbelievable.
It's
It's
a mass delusion, as
Yeah.
Michael Horn's been saying, and we're all been saying, it's a mass psychosis going on here where it's just bought into whole hog.
Yeah.
People losing their jobs or being forced to take it to keep their jobs. A
Yeah.
friend of mine, she was forced. She got the shot and she was crying her eyes out because she just so much didn't want to have to take it, but had to. In her mind, she had a family, a mortgage. She had no choice. Yeah, so it's a very sad state of affairs. We're sort of lucky because we don't have to work now. We're sort of retired, so we're out of that, and we're in a place where we are isolated. We don't have people
Yeah.
living right next door to us, so
Yeah.
it's fairly easy for us. And we weren't big, we're not partiers. We're not going to the gym or the restaurants or the bars. None of that's important. So sort of life as usual for us. But we just be careful when we go shop. We shop at 8 o'clock at night on a weekend, and
Yeah.
when nobody's around,
Yeah.
sneak in and get our groceries with our double masks and
Yeah.
in and out. It's a stealth mission.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's it. Do you
Yeah.
guys, is it getting harder for you too? Like you have to be vaccinated to do this, that, or the other, or is it a little less stringent?
It seems little bit going there at my place where I work, but let's see.
Yeah, I mean, I've
Do you
been
have to
working.
be?
Uh,
Yeah.
I've been working from home for 1.5 years now almost. So, but
Yeah.
I'm expecting that my company may also say that to open up really we need many people vaccinated. They haven't done that yet because the idea is if they do open up, which they're planning to do in January, then those who do not really have the vaccinations, they stay with their masks and all that. So that's fine if they open it up that way. But if it becomes a mandate, then
Yeah, not a good thing.
not a good thing.
I mean, no, it's just it's really taking away your rights,
Yeah.
basically. I mean, exactly. I agree. If you want to take the vaccine, okay, but don't force it on people. And if you can test to prove that you're okay, and you wear the masks, and that should be sufficient. But
Yeah.
the way it is now, it's really like it's a mass psychosis. It's incredible. It's really, really sad. And then of course there's the effects of the vaccine, as you all are aware of.
Yeah.
And the way it there's the really great video. I don't know if you saw it, but it was an article talked about it in one of the Zeitzungen from one of the recent ones with Charles Hoffa. He's a Canadian doctor, and he talks about how the when you get the virus, the vaccination, that it causes the capillaries to become really rough. It's Charles Hoffa, Hoffe, and you can see his video on Odyssey. Odyssee, Odyssey, and he explains it in very great detail how there are microclots happening in the capillaries, and it's not a rare thing. It happened to over 60% of his patients. He does something called a D-dimer test, which is a way to actually determine whether there has been any kind of clotting. It doesn't say where it happens, but it proves that it has happened. And he said over 60% of his patients, 62%, I think he said, had microclotting because of a direct result of the vaccination, and that he expects this will lead to further problems, such as people experiencing brain fog. That has to do with the capillaries being clotted in the brain, and that it's getting through the circulatory system. It's not just staying in the muscle, as I'm sure you guys are all aware of all this stuff. But anyway, it's just it's criminal that it's being imposed on people.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, I guess we just gotta wait it out. I mean, I guess at the end of the day, vaccination is something that's gonna drive it away. But again, proper clinical trials and all these side effects removed, and all the junk that's there in the vaccines properly corrected, and then maybe, hopefully, because there's no other way that's really out of it, is it, Catherine, Michael, in terms of seeing some kind of normalcy, like to make it from a pandemic to an endemic to more controlled, apart from vaccinations.
Yeah. They can get a vaccination that works.
Yeah.
Which may not be for within our lifetimes, for all we know. And it's going to be endemic. It is endemic now.
Mm.
Yeah, we didn't lock it all up like we should have, first place.
And sorry, go ahead.
Go ahead, Noel.
I was just going to say the other thing is the ivermectin. Have you guys heard of it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I came to know of it actually through
Yeah.
through Catherine itself, because over the email, I wasn't really aware that they were treating COVID in India with ivermectin, and then they stopped it,
Yeah.
which is
even the prophylaxis. So the doctors, a lot of doctors in the early stage of COVID, it started in January. So in June and July, so in that time, they started giving ivermectin as a prophylactic drug to the doctors, injecting them weekly, once weekly, so that the impact of virus would not make them ill. So it was also happening. There were some friends of mine who were taking ivermectin before the infection to prevent the infection itself. So yeah.
And did it work for
Yeah.
them?
I don't know. So they said a lot of them, they were spared from the infection. So
Yeah.
my friend's sister, she has a child. At that time, she was 6 months. So she got ivermectin once weekly, injectable.
Yeah.
And I never got this news that she got COVID infection till date. And she got vaccinated in January now. So I didn't get a news that she got infected with COVID. So I don't know whether it works or not, but it was the practice back in June and July.
Of this year.
Uttar Pradesh.
Yeah, of this year.
Uttar Pradesh
Last
is
year.
where they were really doing it.
Not this year, last year.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right, Catherine. Uttar Pradesh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, well, I think maybe we'll think about wrapping it up. We can.
It's been about 2.5 hours, a long time.
2.5 hours.
Again, Catherine and Michael, I mean, thank you so much for joining, of course, and everything that you do. Really, as we discussed, it's only these things that really would inspire everyone, and these small steps to really make it into a bigger picture. Like how Christian said it once, right? Like one day there would be a big hall hundreds of years down the line where everybody is getting together and talking about the spiritual teaching. So one day we're going to reach there.
That's right. Yeah. Oh, we can't wait.
Can't wait.
Can't wait.
We may have to. So guys, yeah, so wonderful to meet you all. Thank you for spearheading this effort, and it's great that you're doing this and talking to all kinds of people. All the best to you, and we can stay in touch online.
Thank you
In the
so
meantime,
much,
of
Catherine.
course.
Thank you, Michael.
Okay.
All right.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
All right.
Take care.
And a
Thank
good
you.
day.
Take care.
Salome.
Thank you, Michael.
Salome.
Thank you, Catherine. Thank you.
Bye.
Okay. Salome.
Bye.
Bye.
Salome.
Salome.